Welcome back to Derry Public Radio. Reporting from the basement of the Derry Civic Center, this is CM Alexander with the news. In health news, the post-apocalypse serial killer isn't what any of us thought it would be. According to recent statistics, roads have become the leading cause of death and injury in the New World. Walk with caution, everyone. You're listening to Derry Public Radio. This is Derry Public Radio. Welcome back to Derry Public Radio, a bi-weekly Stephen King Book Club podcast. I'm one of your hosts, CM Alexander, alongside Joshua Kahn.
Hey, everybody.
And Benjamin Graham.
Hey, Constant Readers.
And today we are back with another episode of The Sit, where we watch and discuss the latest episode of The Stand, and we have Josh leading our discussion.
All right, we're coming towards the end of the journey. Episode 7, The Walk. And boy, is there some walking. We haven't had this much walking since The Long Walk. So I hope you're all ready to hear. And then they walked.
There is some real Lord of the Rings energy in this episode.
So we start things off. Ben, 2 weeks in a row, opening with trash.
This show is simultaneously giving me not nearly enough and really too much with the Trash Can Man. I still love the just absolutely fucking feral performance. But I'm just reiterating points from last week. It's hampered a little by not having his origin. This Trash Can Man, from just what we've been given in the show, is just a wild animal person. He's not a human. And that takes away from how compelling the character is. Because he should be a tragic character, and he's barely a character. He's a weird dog.
He's a wild means to an end.
Yeah. Who also is inexplicably versed enough that he can weld a nuclear warhead out of what
Yeah,
it seemed very technical.
Yeah, he was separating the warhead from the rest of the missile.
Everybody's got to be good at something.
Right. And I think it's because Trash Can Man is an artist. He has all the tools to ply his trade. He knows what to do. I just loved when he pulls it out and he hugs it, and then while it's still hanging over the abyss, throws both of his legs over it. I was like, that's a terrible idea.
He climbs that thing like a tree.
Yeah.
And the way they set it up, it's just this one quick scene we get with him, but the way they set up with the Geiger counter going off and like how we know he's getting this like lethal dose of radiation. I feel like by the time we next see Trash Can Man, the performance is going to get wilder.
Oh, I bet.
Along with the prosthetics.
How can it? How can you go from 100 to 100?
We are going to find out, because I bet he is going to be disgusting when we see him next, and I cannot wait.
Like, end of RoboCop. Like, yeah.
Next, we get to see the end of last episode again with Harold and Nadine, but now we stick with them after the explosion, and Harold lays into Nadine in a way I was not expecting.
She gets him back, though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, he's gonna give me someone that makes you look like a sack of moldy potatoes. And I was just thinking, not possible.
Right? I was like, what do you think? Who do you think you're gonna get, Harold? Like, but still, the guy that plays Harold, I really should learn this actor's name.
Owen Teague.
Absolute MVP of the series. He puts on a fucking workshop in this episode. Just the delivery at the beginning of him delivering, my name is Harold Emery Lauder, and I do this of my own free will, directly to the camera is chilling. Yeah.
You believe him.
For sure. And I'm so excited we got the crash in all its glory. Did you guys have any concerns about if we were going to, get it because if I remember right, in the book, we get it, basically the postscript of it, that we don't see it happen. We just follow them as it happens.
Yeah, we because,
or was that in the miniseries?
No, we see in the miniseries.
In the miniseries, you see him fly, and it's
hilarious.
Amazing.
Oh, that's right.
No, in the book, I believe it's implied that he hits an oil spill.
Yes,
that shouldn't have been there or wasn't there a second before. We get there's something where the Dark Man, the walking dude, is behind it.
Right.
Yeah, and Nadine knows about it, but in this, it's implied that she is actually behind it because she speeds up and then causes him to go faster, which I thought was brilliant because it creates this tension in the scene, because especially if you know what's about to happen. And I feel like the reason the original series, that scene was hilarious, even though it was an amazing stunt and well done, there wasn't any tension because it's just, oh, boom, it happened. And this, you're like, oh, dude, no, it's going to happen. Don't do it. This episode made my hands sweaty.
This episode had so many of those moments where we all knew exactly what was going to happen, and it still made us tense, which I think is great storytelling. But man, the moment that U-turn sign shows up and Nadine hits the brakes, just like, strap in, guys. That crash is so fucking cool.
I was at first hesitant because I was, this is an iconic scene. Harold's death is still one of the moments in this book that has stuck with me since the first time I read it. It's just iconic. And I was expecting that moment where Flag steps in and it's him dispatching of Harold. And at first when that didn't happen, I was like, well, I just want Flag to have more shit to do. I just want him to do more crazy magic shit. They've taken away so many. We didn't get to see him turning into a bunch of feathers and eating a guy. I want that moment.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
I wanted him to, Harold to look up and have Flag just standing in the middle of the road or something. And we didn't get that. And I was like, oh, come on. But I agree that giving Nadine this agency, that it was her, because she, even when she finally meets up with Flag, is like, oh yeah, by the way.
He didn't
as though Flag doesn't know.
Yeah.
She's like, I took care of this. And he's like, good girl. But giving her that agency I do like that change a lot.
Let's stick with the Harold moments, because, about halfway through we drop off of this. Later when it cuts back to him and he's still alive and laying in this, he's been impaled through the clavicle by a tree. His legs broke. And then
his legs
just starts to write.
Broke. His leg is not a way that legs are.
Yeah. This is also one of those things. It's like, it's a show. They ignore it, Ben. But it did bother me that he lands in this gnarled tree that impales him through the chest and literally immediately just spits out so much blood. It is massively unpleasant. But I saw that and I'm like, oh, he's dead. That's it made me laugh because he immediately yells, Nadine, get my rope.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you think rope is going to solve this situation?
He's in shock.
But having this giant chunk of tree literally right through his chest, I was like, how much time has passed? I'm sorry. He's dead.
It's super easy for me to be into this, being a horror lover of all types of movies. Hardly ever does the level of gore make sense, but I love it when it's blood just spewing from everywhere. It's nah, that's so unrealistic. So I felt like this doesn't make sense, but they probably wanted it to look cool.
Oh, it's obviously forgivable, but
yeah.
I was just like, he's dead in half an hour.
He's way dead. Well, he has time to. Maybe it's eating a payday that slows the bleeding down.
Yeah,
that's what I want when I'm choking on my own blood. Peanuts. Just
something real salty.
Something really salty and dry.
Yeah,
that really helps.
Band-Aid. No.
What are you doing right now? No, hold on. What?
I thought I could cleverly combine Band-Aid and Payday. But right out of the gate, it fell apart.
I just heard, I thought you were trying to say my mind immediately went to, why are you saying Panda Express so wrong? I don't know why you would be saying that.
I also heard Panda.
But
that's what came out.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Payday. More like a pain day.
Oh! That's how you do it.
That's what I was going to say.
That's why I make the big bucks.
And then we have him writing his final thoughts, and then he puts the gun in his mouth and goes. That was wild.
Did I check out for his final thoughts when we finally hear them, as read by Larry? Or was he still kind of a dick?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But that's Harold.
But I feel like there was a little more remorse and genuineness in the book. What the way he is in the series makes more sense with his character, the way he's been. So it tracks, but...
I'd have to go back and read the book, but I swear that was almost word for word. Because he tells the story of the kids when he grew up, they would jump into this watering hole or whatever, and he could never bring himself to jump. And if maybe he could have, maybe he wouldn't be where he is right now. And he apologizes. And I don't know, the guy's delivery killed me. I thought it was fucking perfect.
I don't know why, but his delivery made me feel like he was being apologetic the way Harold would be apologetic.
Yeah.
And not truly remorseful, which I got in the others. And I'm not complaining. It's just, I thought that was interesting.
No, I felt true remorse. It's just, when you're a person like Harold, like true remorse is still tainted. He's still not a good person.
Right.
But he's trying, and that's why it felt so. He's still trying to keep and save face. That's what I felt in this, because it's still so perfunctory and I now take this a name I could not take in Boulder, which I now take freely, is such a Harold way of talking. It's like people don't talk like that. But even in this lowest moment, he's trying to come across as this person he's not really, but wishes so badly he could be.
Yeah, oh, hey guys, it's okay. You accepted me and now I accept me. It's no, dude, you suck. Fuck you.
We all hate you.
I just thought his delivery of this, it killed me. And I loved that it was Larry that has this moment with him.
Because they have, and that's the biggest thing about this episode that I dig, because it bothered us when it seemed like Stu had this weird connection with Harold. He knows when he dies, when he shoots himself, and it's no, where did that come from? They never had a thing. Making it Larry was so good.
Yeah, I was all about it even before they explicitly had him say why he was doing it. But Larry's the one that goes over the wall to go down and see Harold, and everyone else is fuck that guy. And Larry comes right out and says, well, I followed this guy across the country and he did something really bad, but he got me to Boulder and I'm going to do this.
Despite how terrifying the makeup and dummy is, it's so cool.
Yeah, the vultures ate his face.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was a great end to that character. And in this episode, we also get a lot of Larry being pushed into that leadership role and just fully completing his growth. And this was a big moment for him. Everybody's saying, don't do this. And he's like, no, I have to do this because this is the right thing right now. So going back a little bit, we have the aftermath of the explosion. Everybody is getting checked out, and Mother Abigail awakens and calls everybody to her room, just like we get in the book. And she says the same thing, take nothing but the clothes on your back and your weed pen and go toward the walk to Vegas. Boy, howdy, do they walk. That walking montage was half the episode, right?
It definitely felt that way. And it started out very picturesque. Like I said, it's basically just the Fellowship walking through New Zealand, but in the American Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, went on a little too long. And also, the weird CGI skeleton.
Yeah, that was an odd choice.
What do you guys think of that?
I didn't like that.
It wasn't necessary, but I didn't have a problem with the long walk. It didn't feel long. I mean, it felt... Obviously, it was long, and they conveyed that, but they didn't convey it by boring me to death.
Yeah.
I thought they had enough, character conversation back and forth, and then they cut to different things enough that I was into it.
That was fun that we cut back and forth, and we just got kind of snippets of their kind of mundane conversation and just passing the time.
No, those parts I loved.
Mm-hmm.
The parts of that actually... I'm strictly talking about the walking montage.
The Radiohead.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not the biggest Radiohead head. But no, I loved just them walking around and shooting the shit because you actually get the chemistry between, I think, these 4 actors who we haven't gotten. So much of this is just plot. We got to get all this fucking plot in this. We haven't had a lot of one-on-one or like group bonding time.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Here's what kept me engaged and distracted from the montage while I was watching the montage. I fucking love that there's a woman in this group, in the final group, because I can relate to a woman, and it's so fun to see someone, that kind of represents me in this group now. So, I don't know, I guess I just had a different, I was like, ooh, yeah.
I also love Ray.
Yeah.
Whereas Ralph was just like, why is Ralph here? He was just like a weird Midwestern dad who for some reason got chosen to go along. But Ray just seems like we've seen her, that she's been in a position of power in Boulder, that she's competent and she gets work done.
It's almost like she wasn't necessarily one of the original group, but her own perseverance and her own initiative, she took over things that she could take over and was useful, and now she is part of this final journey.
Did you guys check out it's so cliche, but I love it every time. We now know what the ending of this series is going to be because that photo. Every story that is like, hey, let's get a photo together. That is the last time that group of people is together. It's such a trope, and I love it. But I have this image that we're going to hang on the last shot of Fran tacking that photo up on something.
I can definitely see that.
Which reminds me, we should get a photo after this.
Oh no!
We're jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
But I did have to mention, there's this brief scene as they're heading out of Boulder where they all gather for a Polaroid. And we have a very short moment between Larry and Joe. Why did I want to call him Leo? Because they call him Leo in the book before they know his name is Joe. Anyway, there's a very short moment between Larry and Joe. That whole part doesn't work for me.
No?
No. Their interaction as Larry is leaving, Larry behaves towards Joe like an uncle who is meeting his nephew for like the 3rd time. He is like, okay, here's my guitar, big guy. See you later. It is not the familial bond.
Yeah.
You do not get Joe didn't have that with Nadine. They called her Nadine Mom, but there's nothing there. That it doesn't work for me.
I'm just glad that relationship existed as opposed to ignoring it.
And it's different too, I think, because he didn't live with Larry. He lived with Nadine. So they didn't really have that relationship. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Let's get into Nadine and Flag.
I'm so confused because Nadine's on her bike and she sees something in the distance in the desert, and she stops, and it's him. And I really like what they did in this scene because she's walking through, and there are like rose petals and part of a floor that shouldn't be in the desert. And then it's like she's in Vegas in his penthouse. But then it's like switching back and forth, like he's creating an illusion for her. Because at first I thought, oh, did he just like warp her there somehow?
No, that was cool. When the first time she looks down at her feet and sees that it's in the sand, and he's like, nope, stay with me.
That was
her
cool.
back. Yeah.
And so they have a love scene. And at first you're like, this is it.
At first,
this is it.
At first, it starts, and you think to yourself, "Do I need to ask CM if I should leave the room?"
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
You should have left the
We
room.
should.
No, but you knew Alexander Skarsgård's butt. Thank you, CBS. But then, following that, he turns into not the fun, hilarious, cartoonish guy we all loved from the original miniseries, but a disgusting, dirty, demon humanoid something.
It turns into a weird mud man.
It's so gross.
He looked like a fire, like he'd been burnt to a crisp, and that's the impression I
reminded
got.
me of Constantine. But if they were more meaty.
It gave me Dark Souls aesthetic.
Sure, yeah. But I gotta say, Flag's true form, way better than the original miniseries. I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
If only he had still been wearing like a fringed denim jacket.
He's wearing denim, but he makes it look so good.
The condom is denim.
The condom is denim?
Josh, that's the worst one.
Tried to sneak that past
I
us.
did. We now come to the scene that I'm sure we all immediately remembered in full the second we saw the split in the road. That was a great visual representation. That is exactly how I pictured it in the book.
I disagree.
Oh.
I could not help see this as anything other than a set. Because it's a two sides of the highway with this steep rocky gorge in the middle, but every time they're like climbing down, it is so clearly designed to be easy for the actors to climb up and down that it was distracting for me.
You didn't like the well-worn path?
Yeah, it was like, obviously, it's especially noticeable when Kojak runs down.
But
It's
that's how it
just
is
like
in the
a
book,
series
too.
of steps.
When he does it in the book, the Kojak does it way faster than all of them and calls him a show-off.
Well, yes, but you can't see it.
That's
And
true.
it obviously looks like the fucking aggro crag.
Right.
Like a group of children could race up that thing, hitting all the actuators.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm being critical because obviously I couldn't fucking do it, but I don't know.
Well,
I found it
that's-
distracting.
But if that's like the criticism of the episode, hot damn.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I just love, like, they took those moments to add in little character moments, like right before he gets to the top and Glenn falls on him. He's like, kiss my ass, and then he falls, and he's like, oh, I think I just did.
That was great.
I was just like, just those little bits are so much fun.
Can we talk about their goodbye?
Oh,
The entire series, the two characters with the most chemistry
Yes.
in the entire series.
Yeah.
yep.
Stu and Glenn.
Stu and Glenn.
Yeah. What did you, before we get to that goodbye, what did you think of Stu's fall?
It hurt.
I'll give him that.
They made up for the steps with his fall.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Any limb breaking special effects,
Ugh.
so effective, and when they do it like this, visceral.
Oh, you just watched him come down on that leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then having Larry, when he has Larry pull it. Oh, God, that's brutal.
That really made my hands are still sweaty just thinking about it.
All right, let's get into the goodbyes. How did you feel about all of the goodbyes?
Stu and Glenn's goodbye was so great that I don't give a shit about any of the rest of that scene, because Stu takes Larry through this whole, like, you're the leader now, and I want you to repeat some Bible verse after me. Mm-hmm. And Larry does it half-heartedly. He's like, no, mean it. And he finally means it. Fine. But they go to leave, and Glenn gives Stu his, packet of pills, and he's like, take one every 12 hours, stay ahead of the pain. Also, if you decide to take like 4, probably would be pretty powerful, if you get my drift. And he's like, yeah, I get your drift. And then he said, what does he say?
He says it's like the very serious, like manly goodbye, just like puts his hand on his shoulder and is like, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. And it's so touching. Mm-hmm. And Stu just deadpan, I wish I could say the same. And it is such a dude goodbye.
Yeah. But you don't think, like, you think that that's the end of this and it was perfect. And then Glenn says, yeah, I didn't really mean it. And it's like, oh, you got me 3 times.
I didn't mean it when I said it. It is such a, like, there's a special kind of razzing just the boys can do to each other. Mm-hmm. And it's so touching, and I love it. It made me go, oh, they're best friends.
James Marsden and Greg Kinnear need to be in movies together.
Yes. We jump back, and we have Nadine walking through the desert with all light hair. Not something I thought we were going to get, but I have to say, pleasantly surprised.
I liked her look. Well, I should amend. I liked the look she thinks she has.
Yeah, that's an important distinction.
Very important. Should we just talk about that reveal? Mm-hmm. So obviously, we, just like in the book, our friends get picked up by Bombastic Lloyd, with the loudest shirt in the world.
That shirt, of all the shirts he's had, that's the one I want the most.
I'm surprised that they didn't see him coming from miles away. And they get there, and we're with the Flags in the penthouse.
The Flags!
And Flag tells Nadine to go greet our guests. And we don't see her right away. We just see the back of her, and she walks down the hall. And Ratwoman and some other guy are following behind her, and they have this look on their face that made me think when we saw her face, it's going to be messed up. And we see her reflection in the elevator, and she looks beautiful, of course.
Yeah, it's like this...
Like old Hollywood.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Old Hollywood, pristine white dress.
White hair, red lipstick.
Like smiling and happy and floating. And I kept going, this isn't right.
But they tricked me with the elevator because she was looking at her reflection. I'm like, oh, she looks hot. Like, why are they giving her funny looks? And we get to the lobby, and our friends are looking at her approaching them, and they also are like, what the fuck? And we see her, and she looks like a 12-month pregnant zombie woman.
She's gray.
Yeah, her skin's like grayed out.
Her skin is like
all sallow. And
it was weird because I did notice, it was like, her wig looks different. Like, it was nice curls in the elevator, and now it's just sort of crimped. So she went from curls to crimp, and that's what you look like.
And then you see her stomach moving underneath her dress.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
You, at this point, I don't know that you can hate Nadine. I don't know, am I wrong?
Ooh. Yeah, I think you can still hate Nadine until next episode. Right now, because she's still really in the thrall of Flag and enjoying it.
Well, I don't know how capable she is of enjoying it anymore.
That's true.
The car scene.
What's that?
The car scene.
Well, see that, but how much of that was insanity? Because she didn't look like that when she got in that car. I guarantee.
True.
Well, I guess I'm just thinking of, so what we're talking about is they're in the car driving to Vegas after he makes sweet love to her. And she has like a cramp in her stomach, and she's pained after she was just looking euphoric. And you see there's like this carving in her leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's still, the way she's acting is she has like her hand out the window doing the
she's
fluttery
high.
hand
She's high as
thing.
balls.
That's exactly, I don't think any of that was what was actually happening.
No,
that was her
not at all.
Escaping.
Yeah, that was her in denial.
I think Nadine is already gone.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really, I don't know.
So of everything that is left in the story, what is something you hope we get that's really cool in this next episode?
I hope we get a better end for Larry and Glenn.
I hope that Julie Lowry's death is as hilarious as in the first miniseries.
Yeah.
Which is going to be impossible because fucking go look that up on YouTube again. It is the dumbest thing. Hysterical.
I really want to see Larry get his comeuppance. Or not Larry, Lloyd.
I was like,
sorry.
wow. Harboring some hatred for Larry we didn't know about.
As Joe sneaks up on him in the middle of the night. No, Lloyd, like, because he's the big difference having, you know, the cool, calm, collected, in charge Lloyd versus the Lloyd we're getting in this series where he's just a manic wiener boy.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel like he's gonna get a death that makes us all be like, yay! And I feel like that's gonna be really cool.
I feel like he's gonna get the original Julie Lowry death.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah.
I have a real one though.
Yeah.
Something that I missed in this episode is Flag falling apart. By this point in the story, Flag has begun losing confidence in himself and has started going like over the edge crazy.
Like he can't float as high and stuff.
He's still just fucking Alexander Skarsgård. He's just still a cool, hot dude.
It's not a problem.
But I want to see him realizing things are going south.
Yeah. I want to have time to appreciate that before the nuke.
Yeah.
That is it for this episode of Derry Public Radio. As always, thank you for listening. Join us next time where we cover the next episode of The Stand. For Joshua Kahn and Benjamin Graham, I'm CM Alexander reminding you, there's no way but forward. Hey everyone, CM Alexander here. Thank you for listening to The Sit, Episode 7. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, please follow us on social media at Derry Public Radio or send us an email at derrypublicradio@gmail.com. We've been working really hard to get you weekly episodes covering The Stand while still doing our normal stuff too. If you're enjoying these extra episodes and you haven't already, please take a moment to rate and review us on iTunes so other people can find us too. We sincerely appreciate it. We hope you enjoy these outtakes. For Joshua Kahn and Benjamin Graham, I'm C-Man. I'm C-Man.
I'm C-Man, and this is Derek.
Okay. Can that be my new nickname?
C-Man?
C-Man.
I'm C-Man. Oh my god.
Okay. Let me try that again. For Joshua Kahn and Benjamin
Benjamin Alexander.
What?
I've been adopted. What is happening? Are you okay?
No. Clearly.
She saw Skarsgård butt and she hasn't been able to get over it.
I need time.
I'm C-Man. Ben's my son, Derek.
This is the worst. All right. For Joshua Kahn and Benjamin Alexander. No!
No! What is happening to you?
Shut up.
Ben's my son.
For Joshua Kahn and Benjamin Graham. I'm CM Alexander.
Oh my god.
Reminding you, no way but forward. I'm clearly gonna have to do this later.
Fuck me.
That's hilarious.
Okay, wait.
Now I finally understand what it has to be like for you two to listen to me try to record.
That's all for now, listeners. Goodbye.